just hours after the NASCAR community had still seen Kyle Busch appearing in preparations for the Coca-Cola 600, an unexpected announcement left the entire American racing world in shock. The man once called Rowdy, the driver who created countless controversies, fierce rivalries, and hundreds of historic victories, had suddenly become the center of news. Nobody wanted to believe was real.
Kyle Busch!
This morning, the sudden death of a NASCAR legend, Kyle Busch, rocking the racing community.
In North Carolina, a tribute was on display as thousands gathered at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
What drew even more attention from fans was the reaction of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the man who had shared a tense relationship with Kyle Busch for many years. Take a look back at the full story behind the silence that was finally broken from the sudden shock to the things that had never been publicly said about Kyle Busch.
What I meant to say, I guess, was Kyle Busch is a national treasure.
Yeah.
And the guy, I don't like him. I'm mad. He got no class. Da da da.
Information related to Kyle Busch began spreading throughout the NASCAR community on the evening of May 20th, 2026, after several local sources in North Carolina reported that the driver had been rushed to the hospital in critical condition. At first, most fans believed it was only a temporary health issue. According to reports that later emerged, Kyle Busch suffered a medical emergency while taking part in a simulator test session in Concord, North Carolina. Several witnesses stated that the Richard Childress racing driver suddenly showed signs of severe breathing difficulty and dizziness before collapsing inside the team's technical area. People present at the scene said medical staff responded immediately to provide emergency treatment. The atmosphere inside the testing center quickly became tense as all activities were completely halted. Several technical crew members were seen leaving the area with visibly shaken expressions only minutes after the incident occurred. News about Kyle Busch's condition rapidly became a major topic across NASCAR forums in the United States. Many fans began paying attention after several reporters covering the series revealed that the 41-year-old driver had been dealing with physical health issues for days while still trying to maintain his work schedule.
I've got an individual that's shortness of breath, very hot, thinks he's going to pass out, and is producing a little bit of blood, coughing up some blood.
Sources close to the team stated that Kyle Busch had reportedly suffered from a severe sinus infection following the Watkins Glen race earlier in May. During several recent public appearances, the driver known by the nickname Rowdy was repeatedly seen coughing heavily and showing noticeable signs of exhaustion while still participating in all professional activities. Several videos from the pit lane during recent races were also reshared by fans after news of his hospitalization surfaced. In those clips, Kyle Busch was seen repeatedly lowering his head during long coughing spells and leaving interview areas earlier than expected. Before that, those details had received almost no public attention. On the morning of May 21st, 2026, Kyle Busch's family confirmed for the first time that the driver was being treated in the hospital for a serious condition. The statement was posted briefly on social media and immediately caused concern throughout the NASCAR community because no further details were provided. Richard Childress Racing also confirmed that Kyle Busch would not participate in the Coca-Cola 600. This is one of the biggest races of the NASCAR Cup Series season, and the sudden withdrawal of a top driver only days before the event pushed American media outlets into continuous coverage for several hours. Later that afternoon, NASCAR Richard Childress Racing and the family officially confirmed that Kyle Busch had passed away at the age of 41. The announcement was released almost simultaneously across major American media platforms and immediately sent shockwaves through the sports community nationwide. Less than an hour after the official statement, numerous NASCAR drivers publicly expressed their grief. Racetracks, teams, and many organizations connected to American motorsports began changing profile pictures or posting tribute images of Kyle Busch across social media platforms. Outside the Richard Childress Racing headquarters in North Carolina, Many fans began bringing flowers, candles, and NASCAR memorabilia to create memorial displays only hours after the official announcement. Some supporters stood silently outside the team gates for hours as the heavy atmosphere continued throughout the night. Sports television programs across the United States also repeatedly adjusted broadcasting schedules to cover updates related to Kyle Busch. Several veteran NASCAR commentators admitted they never imagined the racing community would face such a massive shock in the middle of an ongoing season. As of May 23, 2026, the official cause of Kyle Busch's death had still not been released. Several sources suggested that a severe infection may have developed into dangerous complications, though the family and related authorities had not provided final confirmation. The sudden passing of Kyle Busch not only shocked NASCAR, but also led many drivers who once had conflicts with him to speak publicly. Among them, the reaction receiving the most attention came from Dale Earnhardt Jr., who had spent years in a tense relationship with Kyle Busch before the two eventually reconciled. Breaking the silence. After the announcement of Kyle Busch's passing, the NASCAR community quickly turned its attention to the reaction of Dale Earnhardt Jr. For many years, the two had been viewed as one of the most intense and famous rivalries in modern NASCAR, especially during the period when Kyle Busch frequently became the center of controversy. The relationship between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch began to deteriorate after a series of on-track incidents in the late 2000s. One of the most frequently revisited moments was the 2008 race at Richmond Raceway, where the two were involved in a controversial collision during the closing laps. Following the Richmond incident, heated debate exploded across American media. A portion of fans believed Kyle Busch had driven far too aggressively, while others argued that it was simply a normal racing situation in NASCAR. From that moment, the relationship between the two drivers became even more tense. In many interviews afterward, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did not hide his frustration with Kyle Busch's driving style. He stated that the driver nicknamed Rowdy regularly created overly aggressive situations on the track and repeatedly placed other drivers in unnecessary danger during NASCAR Cup Series races. On the other side, Kyle Busch also did not avoid comments related to Dale Earnhardt Jr. The Richard Childress racing driver repeatedly defended his aggressive racing style and said that pressure from NASCAR fans caused any incident involving Dale Jr. to quickly become a major controversy. According to people close to NASCAR, the first conversation between the two was fairly relaxed and involved no major conflict. Both drivers began looking back at old incidents with a more open mindset, especially as the level of direct competition between them on the track was no longer as intense as before. From that point on, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Busch began appearing together more often on podcasts, television programs, and NASCAR-related events. Many fans were surprised to see two drivers who had spent years in conflict comfortably revisiting old drama with a calmer attitude. Several conversations between the two quickly became heavily discussed content across NASCAR social media communities. Dale Earnhardt Jr. repeatedly admitted that Kyle Busch was one of the most talented drivers he had ever competed against, even though the two had experienced many conflicts in the past. In his statement, Dale Earnhardt Jr. reflected on the journey from rivals to friends with Kyle Busch. He said there was a period when the two found it very difficult to accept each other, though they eventually moved past their old conflicts and built a more positive relationship away from the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also revealed that Kyle Busch had planned to drive a late-model car during the summer of 2026. According to his comments, the two had discussed the project many times, and Kyle appeared extremely excited about the idea of continuing to compete in short-track racing events outside the NASCAR Cup Series. One of the most widely shared details from the post was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s statement that Kyle Busch belonged among the greatest drivers in NASCAR history. He said he felt grateful that the two had managed to resolve their differences before everything became too late. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s post quickly generated massive interaction across social media. Many NASCAR fans believed his reaction clearly reflected the special impact Kyle Busch had on the people who competed directly against him throughout his professional racing career. That was exactly why Kyle Busch's life and career remained closely connected to controversies, rivalries, and major drama that lasted for many years in NASCAR. And conflicts. Kyle Busch was always one of the most controversial figures in modern NASCAR. From the moment he appeared in national-level competitions, the driver quickly attracted attention because of his aggressive racing style, fiery temper, and willingness to place enormous pressure on opponents on the track. The nickname Rowdy became closely associated with Kyle Busch throughout most of his racing career. The name appeared more and more often following a series of controversial collisions in the NASCAR Cup Series, where Kyle Busch was frequently viewed as a driver unafraid to use hard-driving tactics to gain an advantage in direct competition. Many NASCAR races ended with controversy surrounding Kyle Busch's decisions on the track. Some drivers believed he regularly crossed necessary limits during aggressive attacks, especially in the closing laps of races, when competitive pressure became increasingly intense. At the same time, Kyle Busch's fans viewed that racing style as the reason behind his unique appeal. They believed NASCAR always needed drivers willing to race aggressively, rather than choosing a safer approach. That was exactly why Kyle Busch's image constantly created divided opinions. One of the biggest controversies of Kyle Busch's career took place in the Truck Series in 2011. During the race at Texas Motor Speedway, the driver intentionally collided with Ron Hornaday's truck under caution, causing his opponent to lose control and crash heavily into the wall. The Texas incident quickly triggered intense reactions throughout the NASCAR community. Only hours after the race, NASCAR officially suspended Kyle Busch. It was considered one of the harshest penalties ever given to a top driver at that time. Many American racing analysts believed the incident involving Ron Hornaday seriously damaged Kyle Busch's public image. A large number of people began viewing him as an overly hot-tempered driver who struggled to control his emotions, especially during highly competitive situations on the racetrack. Outside of Ron Hornaday, Kyle Busch also had numerous famous rivalries with major NASCAR drivers. Among them, the tense relationship with Dale Earnhardt Jr. became a topic heavily covered by American media across many NASCAR Cup Series seasons. Kyle Busch was also involved in repeated disputes with Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski. The confrontations between those drivers frequently extended from the racetrack into the garage area and post-race interview sessions. One of the most talked-about recent dramas was the altercation following the 2024 All-Star race involving Ricky Stenhouse Jr. After the race ended, tensions quickly exploded outside pit road and created a chaotic scene in front of large numbers of American media members. Videos capturing the incident rapidly spread across social media. Images of Kyle Busch connected to the altercation continued dividing the NASCAR community into opposing viewpoints. Some fans criticized the behavior of the drivers, while others believed drama had always been a familiar part of NASCAR. Even during the 2026 season, Kyle Busch continued to remain at the center of controversy following several on-track incidents. The clash involving John Hunter Nemechek in Texas became one of the most discussed situations after the two drivers engaged in aggressive competition that triggered strong reactions from fans. Kyle Busch did not only attract attention during races, he also appeared in the media many times because of off-track drama. One of the most heavily discussed incidents occurred in Mexico in 2023, when the NASCAR driver was detained in connection with carrying a firearm. Following the incident in Mexico, Kyle Busch publicly explained that he did not fully understand local legal regulations. After the case was resolved, the driver's image continued becoming a topic of debate across many American sports programs and social media platforms. Outside of legal controversies, Kyle Busch was also involved in repeated conflicts with team members and pit crews during moments when race results failed to meet expectations. Several leaked radio communications revealed that the driver often reacted very strongly whenever problems occurred during races. Even while creating numerous controversies, Kyle Busch still received major respect from NASCAR experts. Most drivers and racing analysts acknowledged his exceptional talent, especially his ability to control the car and adapt to many different types of racetracks. Even though his career was constantly connected to controversy and intense rivalries, what Kyle Busch left behind for NASCAR remained an enormous legacy built on achievements and influence. Great legacy. One of Kyle Busch's most remarkable achievements was his total number of victories across NASCAR National Series. The driver earned more than 200 wins in the Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series, becoming the driver with the highest number of victories in the history of NASCAR's national system. Kyle Busch did not only win frequently, he also maintained a consistent level of competitiveness for a very long time. Across multiple consecutive seasons, he regularly remained among the drivers with the highest number of victories in the NASCAR Cup Series and consistently appeared in the championship battle at the end of the season. In the NASCAR Cup Series, Kyle Busch earned more than 60 victories, a number very few drivers in history have reached. Most of those wins came in an extremely competitive environment during a period when NASCAR featured a demanding race schedule and a highly respected level of driving talent. Kyle Busch's first Cup Series championship came in 2015. The achievement received major attention because he had previously suffered a serious injury and was forced to miss competition for an extended period of time. His return and eventual championship victory significantly changed the way many people viewed Kyle Busch. The second championship trophy arrived in 2019 after a stable and highly effective season. Kyle Busch consistently remained near the top of the standings while displaying experience during the most important races late in the season. That accomplishment helped solidify his place among the legends of modern NASCAR. Outside of major championships, Kyle Busch also became known for his ability to win on many different types of racetracks. From superspeedways and short tracks to road courses, the driver achieved victories everywhere and delivered many memorable performances throughout his professional racing career. NASCAR experts viewed Kyle Busch as one of the most adaptable drivers of his generation. He frequently displayed high speed under difficult driving conditions and earned victories many times, even when he was not considered one of the leading favorites before the race. Alongside his role as a driver, Kyle Busch also created major influence as a team owner. Kyle Busch Motorsports quickly became one of the strongest organizations in the Truck Series after its founding and continuously collected major victories throughout NASCAR's national system. Many young drivers who once competed for Kyle Busch Motorsports later advanced to the NASCAR Cup Series and became prominent names. That helped Kyle Busch become recognized as one of the people who made major contributions to developing NASCAR's next generation of drivers. After many successful years with Joe Gibbs Racing, Kyle Busch moved to Richard Childress Racing for the 2023 season. The decision created major surprise throughout the NASCAR community because it was viewed as one of the most notable driver market moves at that time. At Richard Childress Racing, Kyle Busch quickly made an impact by earning victories during his very first season with the new team. The achievement helped prove that his competitiveness remained extremely strong even as many drivers at similar stages of their careers began experiencing a decline in performance. Outside the racetrack, Kyle Busch also accumulated major wealth through racing contracts, sponsorship deals, and business activities connected to NASCAR. Many American sources estimated the driver's net worth at around $80 million before news of his passing was announced. Family always remained a familiar image alongside Kyle Busch during NASCAR events. His wife, Samantha Busch, frequently accompanied her husband at racetracks and charitable activities connected to the American motorsports community. Kyle Busch's 2 children also frequently appeared in the media during his major victories. His son Brexton received especially strong attention because of his early involvement in youth racing and because NASCAR fans repeatedly mentioned him as someone who could continue the family tradition in the future. After news of Kyle Busch's passing emerged, many memorial activities were quickly organized at NASCAR racetracks. The number 8, the nickname Rowdy and Memorable Moments from his career, appeared heavily across American media and social media platforms. The sudden passing of Kyle Busch left a massive shock throughout the entire NASCAR community. From fierce on-track controversies and famous rivalries to historic victories, Kyle Busch was always a name that created special attention whenever he appeared. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s comments also showed that behind years of intense rivalry stood a tremendous amount of respect between NASCAR's top drivers. If you want to continue following the latest NASCAR stories, subscribe to the channel right now, press like on the video, and leave your thoughts about Kyle Busch and the legacy he left behind for American motorsports.